Good evening. At the age of 53, I had a stroke in May of 2024 and survived only due to good luck and a daughter who had trained as a lifeguard. I was scheduled to fly to Finland to give a plenary talk at a conference, flying out that afternoon on an overnight flight. I had planned to work out at home before going to the airport, but I decided to eat breakfast first, luckily. My 17-year-old daughter, Jillian, was supposed to have left the house to take a high school IB final exam, but she decided to stick around long enough to say goodbye. As I was preparing my breakfast, she realized I was behaving strangely and performed a fast test. And you can see that right there. The 4 questions, or the 3 questions, and then the thing you need to know. Face, is it drooping? Arms, can you raise both? Speech, is it slurred or jumbled? And then time to call 911. Having trained as a lifeguard, Jillian recognized that the right side of my mouth was drooping, I couldn't hold my arms up evenly, and that I was slurring my words. She had me lie down on my side to prevent choking, called 911, told emergency services I was having a stroke, opened the front door of the house so that the paramedics could walk right in, and grab my medical card and ID. This quick action saved my life and changed the course of my recovery. Well, I remember relatively little of the next few hours. When I arrived at the hospital, I was immediately given a CT scan and had a neurological consult. After receiving clot-busting drugs, I was given a second CT scan, which determined that I would need an operation to bust the clot in my brain that hadn't responded to the medication. I was wheeled into the OR, where I clearly remember joking with the OR staff. I explained that I had a PhD, and so I wasn't a real doctor. But I was hopeful that they would be able to help me with their expertise. I woke up next being rolled out of surgery. I saw my husband, who had flown in from Ottawa, where he was attending meetings, and breathed a sigh of relief. My daughter was no longer alone, making huge medical decisions as a minor and trying to manage this complex situation. My son, who was studying in Montreal, flew back that evening and slept by my bedside in a chair that night. Later, I learned that within an hour of my arrival at the hospital, I received life-saving surgery to remove the blood clot in my brain. This fundamentally changed the outcome of this medical emergency. I stayed in the ICU recovery room for the next 3 to 4 hours, where I gradually recovered my speech, practicing Netflix because I kept getting caught on the F over and over again until I knew I was understood. I remained in hospital for 3 days before being discharged. While I did not fully comprehend how closely I had skirted death at the time, I also just assumed I was all better. A quick return to work 2 weeks later failed when I found myself nursing excruciating headaches around the clock. I was put on leave, and thank you to a superb occupational therapist, I made a much more gradual return to work that had me slowly build up my tolerance for screens and manage my headaches, which have, for the most part, receded. While the path to my recovery was not straight, within 5 months, I was back at work and thriving. I will note that my stroke was caused by medication, TRX, an anti-hemorrhaging medication, and the pill I was taking to manage excessive bleeding during what I thought was perimenopause. I had been trying to access a gynecologist for close to 3 years. When I finally saw the gynecologist, an appointment I insisted upon before being discharged from the hospital, she did a blood test and then called me a few days later to tell me I was in full menopause and should not have been on these medications. My story is not unique, but my survival is. These medications are commonly prescribed for those who are bleeding heavily in the years leading up to menopause, but the risks are often downplayed, and women wait years to get the care that they need. Better access to menopause-related health care is crucial. In my case, I might never have had a stroke if that care had been available to me. I have been told that I would have died had I taken the flight from Toronto to Helsinki. I never expected to be a stroke survivor in my 50s, and while I feel incredibly fortunate, right place, right time, and with a daughter who is so very brave, I realize how easily there could have been a different outcome. Please share how to recognize a stroke and make a point of educating yourself. You could save a life. Thank you.